In the headlines of this bulletin, Cần Thơ City People's Committee issued a decision that adjusts and allocates the Midterm public investment capital in 2021-2025 phase to the local budget. The total receipt recorded by enterprises within industrial zones in Cần Thơ City was equal to that recorded in the same period of 2022. The receipt of FDI enterprises, however, continues to rise in comparison with corresponding periods. The NorthWestern Tourism-Culture Week 2023 to be held in Cần Thơ City from upcoming April 8 to 11th at Ninh Kiều wharf. Hello, and it's good to see you back here in this edition of Cần Thơ News and Top News today. Cần Thơ City People's Committee has just issued a decision that adjusts and allocates the midterm public investment capital in 2021-2025 phase to the local budgets. Under the decision, the city reduces the capital sources of 10 projects categorized in the midterm public investment capital in 2021-2025 phase, with the reduced capital totaling more than 703 billion Vietnam dong. In the meantime, the city adds more investment capital to the projects of repairing and upgrading the working office at number 1 Quang Trung Street, Tân An Road, Ninh Kiều Urban District, and 5 other projects at a combined capital of over 708 billion Vietnam dong. Many investors of projects that reduced and added capital are requested to arrange their capital plan to urge construction of the projects as scheduled. The Project Management Board number 2 of Sóc Trăng Province has just reported the implementation progress of component project number 4 of Châu Đốc Cần Thơ Sóc Trăng Expressway, the first phase. Under the report, 70% of floors will be transferred to the project ahead of June 30th this year.
The Project Management Board number 2 has finished choosing contractors, making an evaluation on environmental impacts, clearing signs of mine, and tackling compensation and resettlement tasks. Units involved strive to hand over 70% of the floor to be started construction before June 30th, 2023, and the transfer of remaining floors will be transfer finished ahead of December 31st, 2023.
On April 5th morning, Vice Chairman of Cần Thơ City People's Committee Nguyễn Văn Hồng worked with the city's ODA Project Management Board on the execution progress of the bidding package for building Trần Hoàng Na Bridge. The bidding package of building Trần Hoàng Na Bridge is part of the project of developing Cần Thơ City and enhancing urban resilience. The city's ODA Project Management Board is the main investor of this package, which has a construction contract value of nearly 8 billion Vietnam dong. The construction unit of the package is the joint venture of the Traffic Work Construction General Company number 1 and the Bridge Joint Stock Company number 14. Construction of the package was started in September 2020 and will end in July 2023 as cited in the contract. However, the construction progress of the package lagged far behind schedule, even delayed. Consequently, 3 years after beginning construction, the package has completed just 75% of work.
After putting the construction, floor clearance, compensation, and resettlement tasks into focus, as of early April, bidding packages for the project of building Cần Thơ River retaining dikes have been fundamentally completed. These bidding packages are number 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 that build retaining dikes from guest house number 2 to Đào Sấu Canal. These packages have a combined capital of more than 600 billion Vietnam dong and are invested by the city's ODA Project Management Board. The packages have completed over 80% of the work. Construction units are focusing their working and material forces to complete the projects to be put into use before this year's rainy and tidal season.
In Cần Thơ City, in the first quarter of 2023, the total receipt recorded by enterprises within industrial zones in the city was equal to that recorded in the same period of 2022. The receipt of FDI business alone continues to rise in comparison with corresponding periods. Specifically, in the first quarter of this year, the total receipts of enterprises under operation in the industrial zones in Cần Thơ City was $546.40 million. The total receipts of FDI businesses alone was $141.62 million. After figures, the industrial production value was $141.62 million, up by 10% against the same period in 2022, and the export value was $52.18 million, down by 40% against the same period. As of now, there have been 258 projects that are validating in Cần Thơ industrial zones. In March 2023 alone, there was one more project that registered its investment in the project. It's the collagen peptide and gelatin producing plant of Amicogen Namvic Limited Liability Company that registered a total investment capital of $3.44 million. In the first quarter of this year, the export turnover of some key export items was reduced, resulting in the reduction of 14.4% of the export turnover of agroforestry marine products with $11.19 billion.
However, some items got higher export value than in the same period last year. They arise with an export value of $952 million, up by 30.2%, vegetable fruits $935 million, a rise of 10.6%. China was the largest exporter of Vietnam in the first quarter of 2023, with an export value of $2.4 billion, making 21.5% of the market share, followed by America with $2.04% in export value, making up 18.2%, Japan with $936 million, making up 8.4%, and Korea with $528 million, approximately 4.7%.
Cần Thơ University of Medicine and Pharmacy on April 4th organized a scientific conference entitled Parkinson's Disease and Diseases with Physical Disorders in Clinical Practice. The conference had the presence of Professor Daniel Chung, chairman of the International Association of Parkinson's Disease and Related Disorders. The conference drew more than 100 delegates and students in participation. More Vietnamese people are suffering the Parkinson's disease and other physical disorders now because Vietnamese people's longevity age increased. This is the second time Professor Daniel Trung has come to share his experiences in the process of treating his Parkinson's patients with the hope that physicians can detect and precisely diagnose Parkinson's disease and related disorders for effective treatment. Professor Daniel Chung is the founder of the Institute of Parkinson's and Physical Disorders in California University.
Following is also the news on medical area. From now until the end of this year, on the last Saturdays every month, Hoàng Mỹ Cửu Long General Hospital gives free health checkups on congenital heart disease for children under 16 years of age living in Mekong Delta regional localities. Doctors will give direct clinical checkups, conduct electrocardiogram and cardiac ultrasound tests, and give treatment consultation in case of being detected. Children who are categorized in poor households and in need of an operation will be instructed to apply for surgical cost support.
The NorthWestern Tourism-Culture Week 2023 will be held in Cần Thơ City from upcoming April 8 to 11th at Ninh Kiều wharf in Ninh Kiều Upper District, Cần Thơ City. The event is jointly organized by the 8 NorthWestern Provinces Tourism Development Corporation Group and Ho Chi Minh City. As planned within the NorthWestern Tourism-Culture Week 2023, there will be a display of typical tourism products and images of 8 NorthWestern provinces and Ho Chi Minh City, an arts program, and many other contents on Sapa National Tourism Zone, Tourism Promotion Conference, among others. The event aims to introduce the nature, culture, and people of 8 NorthWestern minorities to people in Cần Thơ and Western Vietnam. And last but not least, we have the updated weather forecast. The updated weather forecast also wrapped up this edition of Continues. If you want to watch again in this bulletin, please visit our website, Cần Thơ TV.vn. And now thanks for being with us. Goodbye and see you next time.